Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Christopher Laramie. And we're going to be discussing his amazing book, Rabbit's Poetry. That's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. And people, Christopher was brought to our network, People of Distinction, by some of the best publishers in the business. Media Literary Excellence. Now, if you or anyone you know have a book that they'd like moved, I'm telling you, people, give yourself the best gift you could possibly give. Contact Media Literary and have their wonderful team move it for you. You can find out more information on them at MediaLiteraryExcellence.com. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Chris here on the line with us. Chris, first and foremost, man, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, listen, it's truly a pleasure having you as a guest here with us, Chris. Now, before we go into the book, because I know we have a lot of information to cover pertaining to that, but I feel like it's important to learn a little bit more about your background, Chris. So let's start there. Tell myself and tell our listening audience a little bit more about yourself.
I like the outdoors. I like fishing. I'm a proud father. I'm an Iraq war veteran. I was a paratrooper in orders unit. It was for the National Guard, but it was still war, and it's not something I usually talk about, but I do a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Chris, first and foremost, thank you very much for your service, okay? And, you know, a thank you just never seems to do enough. But unfortunately, Christopher, that's all I have to offer at this time. But I will say we are forever indebted to you and all of your military brothers and sisters for sacrificing your lives and really helping protect our liberties here in the States. So thank you again for your service. We are truly, truly indebted. And Chris, without further ado, the anchor for today's interview is all about your book, Rabbit's Poetry. So tell us a little bit more about it. What does the book entail?
Rabbit was my nickname in the military, so that's why I just call it Rabbit, just another name, like a nickname. And then on the cover, it has 5 soldiers on a hill next to an American flag with the sun setting. It was awesome. And I like to, sometimes I like to just think of the weirdest things I could possibly write about, and it comes out so much creative.
Absolutely. You know, Chris, let's talk about inspiration for a minute, okay? Now, again, there's no surprise there. We're talking about poetry. It's written right there in the title. Well, when it comes to poetry, Chris, was this something that was always a hobby of yours growing up? Were there poets or other writers that inspired you? Talk to us about where that love for poetry comes from.
I was having a hard time a long time ago, and it's like, oh, if I start writing, maybe I'll calm down. And I fell in love with it. That's all I do all day now is write. But I like it. It's a perfect job for me. I love it.
Mm-hmm. So this is something that started really as almost a cathartic/therapeutic experience for you, yes?
Yes. Yeah, I just started doing it, and now I keep doing it.
There you have it. There you have it, man. That's fantastic. Now, with regard, sticking with inspiration, when it comes to this book, I mean, this is, as you said, something that started off as a therapeutic experience, right? You kind of wanted to settle down and put your mind at ease. So you leaned to writing, which is something a lot of people do. So I'm right there with you. Now, when it comes to publishing this book, I mean, these are poems that very easily could have stayed on your personal shelf, or things that you just, did for yourself personally, but never put out to the public. But Chris, you switched gears and you did publish the book for the mass public. I'm curious to know what inspired you to do that.
I just wanted to get really creative and see how I could write.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm new at this, but I like my book. I think it came out really well. Everyone likes it. I already gave one to my daughter.
There you go. That's fantastic, man. I love it. I love it. Chris, who would you say is your intended audience with this book? And then a subpart to that, what is the main message that you're hoping that they receive?
I will admit, I write about my life a lot, but it's not always that way. And young adult to adult, there's got some bad words in some of them.
There you go. And then a subpart to that, now we know who the intended audience is. Is there a main message or theme that you're hoping that your readers receive?
Just let loose and just read poetry for what it is, you know? That's what I think.
So it's purely for entertainment's sake.
I wrote stuff for like my daughter or my cat that died and stuff like that, but sometimes I make up something like I'll look at some objects in my room and I'll just sort of poem about it and it comes out different.
People, again, we're here on the line with Christopher Laramie. We're discussing his amazing book, Rabbit's Poetry. It's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. You know, Chris, next question that I'd love to get into, man, and listen, my listening audience is going to get very upset with me if I don't hurry up and move in this direction. So let's just go ahead. Now, we know right there in the title, Rabbit's Poetry, we know that this is a poetry book of poems comprised over years of writing. Well, Chris, if you have a poem that's readily available, we would love to hear it. So please, if you could share one of your poems for us.
Okay, solar winds slams into the Earth's atmosphere. Without an atmosphere, would roast like a marshmallow. We would roast like a microwave. Once a night in the polar areas, it's the aurora borealis. Such beauty, no atmosphere, crap, no cave, just ashes without a grave. Little people know the ones that found undercover survived a bit and found Santa with a pre-cooked reindeer. A lot of it was preserved, cooked by solar waves, had a big rock, just so hot. Roasted a steak, everybody got together and we did the wave. Also, far north, not many to save it. It was the aurora borealis, house in the land of the brave. One crazy ass grabbed aluminum foil, rode the wave, it was saved. Really wondering how we can prepare to slow down our earth rate to more normal. We're not going to make it at our rate. We're starting to cook just like our steaks. We're all going to die here. The government made mistakes. In a week we have having a rave, have fun, get some booty, a short memory. Now we die, we're brave. Now it's got to be craved. It's fully got worse. It's even killed the prepared friend named Dave. Definitely a planet toasted to a crisp, total extinction, not even bacteria were safe. Something good, God had some souls to save, and heaven the world was fresh, he did create.
Now, Chris, if you can you
This
go
is an
into...
example of one of my poems.
No, I appreciate it, man. That's fantastic. Can you talk to us about the inspiration behind that poem?
I know about the government a lot, too. I think a lot of people do.
Uh-huh. We know about this fantastic book. We know about your past. Well, I want to know about the future, man. Please tell me there's another book on the horizon. What's upcoming for you, Chris?
I just sent one in. It was like 200 pages, and they got to go through it and all that. And then I've been working on my second book, which is quite a lot of work, but it's what it is.
Now, are these poetry books, or are you switching gears, writing fictional narratives? What type of books are they?
I'm going to keep doing poetry books. I have an idea for a poetry, different experimentation I want to try, but I don't want to share it unless it works.
There you go.
I'm trying to think outside the box on my poems, something totally different.
Yeah. Got to stay ahead of the curve, man. Keep something original and fresh coming out. I love it. People, you know what you got to do, okay? Amazon and Barnes & Noble are where you have to go. Rabbit's Poetry is what's available currently. But be on the lookout because, as he stated, one has just been submitted, which will be published very shortly, and a third is already in creation. You know where you have to go. Check back in frequently at Amazon as well as Barnes & Noble. Chris, next question here, man. What would you say was a highlight for you in writing the book? Or if not a highlight, something that surprised you that you weren't anticipating before you began?
I just got into it. I love it so much. And then, like, I write a poem for family or a dog died or whatever, and I write poems for people instead of giving them flowers.
Short, sweet.
But I can't
to the
always
point.
publish some things because it's personal with family and stuff, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, of course. You got to be careful. Chris, as we start to close out of this fantastic interview, man, I could think of no better way to close out of this wonderful interview than with another one of your fantastic poems. So please, if you have another one ready to pull from myself, my listening audience, we are all ears.
Okay. A spy in disguise. All of his life, he wanted to be a spy. He joined the military and fought in Iraq. He was infantry, also almost lost his life. Seriously, he remembers his friend losing her life, full of strife, cried like she was a wife. PTSD was so bad I almost slit my wrist, kept the knife and bayonet the sharpest used, slicing muscles all night. Yep, come home and cried at night, and when the sun was up, his tears simmered bright. I came home, went through the emotional night. ETS was happening tonight. Iraq was hell. After getting home, I flipped, had a flashback, and caught a friend. Now, someone met me in a bar at night. Whatever I said, the guy met him in a quiet place. Use your PTSD for a job you might like. He whipped out a badge. It's the CIA. You're invited to become a spy. I started to cry and ended up in a bar fight, no delight. If you wish to change your life, use your PTSD in disguise. However, no family. Your friends will be CIA. You will be all over the world with friends, and we need to get intelligence about China before you need to speak Chinese. You have one partner. She's Chinese. You're undercover. You're her husband and wife. It's important to need to spy on China's nuclear warhead. Intelligence reports groups of upcoming attacks on the U.S. If the both of you, husband and wife, can link up with the snipers, tonight will save millions of lives. SOCOM is involved. They are sending special forces in Delta, and the troubleshooting is allowed. Take flies, the wife, and filter the location of the nuke. Try change its destination in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. No bribes, all out of ammo, use knives. Going to the PG, rode up one of the few Black Hawks, went and debriefed with higher up command, and then twisted off to the U.S. and landed in the Pacific. Sent over a tsunami that was over 100 feet tall, killed innocent people. Anyway, wasn't wise. Useless in stopping the wave, the whole Pacific was slammed. Even way the trade tragedy was slight. Indeed, on the coast, every way you look at it, a lot of people died tonight. So bad the whales and sharks were dead on top of the mountains. L.A. was a massive grave site. Even though a tsunami happened, it was less bad than multiple going off inland sites. We tried all of my might. The salt water caused the die of blight.
Wow. This is profound because you can see the vivid imagery within his poems, but you can also, after knowing a little bit about Christopher's background, you can see the inspirations from his real life and then the creative one. And you can see the way those bridges were formulated. I am here for it. I love it. People, I'm going to say it for you once again. Amazon, Barnes & Noble are where you have to go. Rabbit's Poetry is the book that you need to pick up right now, but make sure to check back in frequently because as he stated, there's another 2 on the horizon. And Christopher Laramie is the author you have to thank for bringing it to your table. You surely will not be disappointed. A fantastic book to add to your shelf, an even better gift to add to someone else's. Chris, this has been such a pleasure, man. True honor. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Well, thank you, sir.